Hi everybody, welcome back to our LLG live lessons. Like I said last time, we're keeping this content going. We are out of lockdown now, finally. Good to be out on the golf course and back coaching as well. So this week we started back with our physical coaching, the three hammers. So I was in this morning, some sessions, working on driving in bunkers. Olivia is coaching round about now. Phil's back up at Chili Dip on Thursday. And we just announced that we're launching a new centre up in Cheshire as well, which we're really excited about. So we're gathering interest this month, and the sessions will start in Cheshire in January. So we're really excited about the new centre at the beaches in Knutsford. We're really expanding this community, and great that you signing up all around the country, digitally as well. So we're hoping to bring a centre near to you very soon. But in the meantime, there'll be lots of activity to get involved with our days, trips, and breaks next year, which we can get back to some normality. So welcome to our new subscribers to the website. Hopefully you can keep enjoying these live sessions to keep the game improving. Now we're back on the golf course. So tonight's theme is all about the differences between pitching and chipping, and some technical advice and some tips that I think are really helpful on both techniques. And then at the end of the session tonight, we're going to do the live draw to reveal the 3 lucky winners of our virtual lesson giveaway. So last week we said we're going to do a virtual lesson so we can bring coaching to your home, give you some tips virtually via a review from our coaches to help the game improve. So we've got our random number generator on there, and we've got a list of entries on our very professional piece of paper there, just in the front room. So we're going to do that at the end of the session, about 10 minutes. We're going to do that randomly and see who's won that lesson. So tune in at the end for that as well. So pitching and chipping. So we've not done this. Lots of questions coming on this. What's the difference? When do I chip it? When do I pitch it? So I'm going to go through the difference in the terminology and how the two vary. First of all, I'd like to say, well, each coach is different, but personally, my definition of a chip is when the golf ball travels more on the ground and less in the air. Okay, so it spends a little bit of duration in the air, but the majority of the shot is spent on the ground. So typically that's very useful when you're 2 or 3 paces off the green. You've got a lot of green to work with. You want to elevate the ball a little bit, but then most of the shot will be on the ground, running towards the hole like a putt. So I'm going to go through the technique on that first. A pitch shot is different. That's when it spends the majority of its duration in the air and less on the ground. So that's going to be great for when you've got a 30, 40, 50-yard shot, when you need to get the ball up in the air and land it softly. So there's the definition between the two, which I think is quite simple and easy to remember. In and around the green, chip it, then it runs, pitch, in the air, then it lands soft. So the 2 techniques are different as well. So here's some tips on how you play the 2 techniques and some drills you can do at home, as always, or on the range as well. So we're going to start with the chip shot first. So the chip shot is all about getting a good contact and getting accuracy as well, so trying to keep it nice and straight. So the first things that we'll do is a very short shot. So I personally like to teach everyone standing quite narrow. The ball position will be dead centre, and then I just want to feel like you get 60% of your weight just on your lead leg here, so on nearest the target. Okay, the hands are ever so slightly ahead of the ball. Just like this. So nice and simple. Don't try and set up it too wide. Keep it super narrow and lean left. And then the other tip I'm going to give from this angle is probably the best tip to really remember, is that when you're playing chipping, as I said, it's all about accuracy. So what I like to do when teaching chipping is try and get the toe of the golf club here. So the toe, try and push that down so the shaft becomes steeper. If I set up to the ball like this, so the toe goes down, and I'm nudging a bit closer. Now the reason that's really important is it really helps get a consistent strike by flattening the face of the golf club. And also, if I'm more on top of the golf ball, imagine the club face is my palm here. You can try this at home. It's a lot easier to keep my palm going towards the target like this here. If I stand too far away, like a full shot, the club or my palm will go around the body, and nicely the face is opening and closing. It's very difficult to get a straight chip shot. So if you want to get a nice straight chip shot around the green, key thing, if you don't do this already, toe down, stand higher, get your weight onto your left side, and then you can get the golf ball going back and through. Okay, so it's nice and straight. So hit the net just here, so 25 points for that one, but it's dead straight. If I start lowering the hands here, that's when the club will swing around the body. It's very challenging then to get a straight chip, so that's a really good tip if you're struggling with hitting a straight one. And from the face-on view, obviously, we're going to get the weight into that left side, and notice when I do that as well, the weight stays always in that left side. And then the other little drill you can try at home as well, probably the biggest thing actually when I see chipping is if you don't get it quite right, the wrists are too active. So this is what I see a lot of. You know, the body doesn't move too much. Even if you have got it in a higher position as I suggested, I see a lot of this movement here, trying to scoop the ball up. So if you've got like a garden cane or a stick just around the house or at home, just put this down the left hand side here, so it's missing your rib cage on the left, and then just very smoothly just have a couple of swings and just feel like this misses your left hand side there. If you feel them wrists want to hinge and flip, then that's when you're going to feel it hit the side and you'll give yourself a little bruise on the rib cage. So keep it nice and forward and just notice how my wrists are very passive. So it's quite a stiff wristed shot, and let the loft of the club just lift the ball up. That's never touching me. So grab a stick, grab a garden cane, see if you can do that without touching your side. Just back here and then through. Great little drill for chipping. And then the other one I sort of say, a good little tip to remember and write this one down, is when you go on the golf course in normal conditions, a lot of people say, well, you know, how far do I land the ball? And a good rule of thumb is you've got your pitching wedge here. In normal flat conditions, you can work on the ball roughly travelling 50% in the air and then 50% on the ground for a pitching wedge. Okay? So 50-50, dead easy to remember that one. If your landing spot is 50% of the way to the flag, land it there and it will release and run the remaining 50% of the duration. If you've got an A-time, probably my favourite club in the bag to chip with, so an A-time here, it's obviously a stronger loft, so I don't have to swing back as far, so it's a really popular club to chip with. And the ratio on that one, if you want to write this one down, roughly 1/3, 2/3. So if you've got the flags, you know, on the green, lots of green to work with an 8-iron, set up as normal, hands still higher, but land the ball 1/3 and it'll run out 2/3. So that's a great club if you've got nothing to go over, no bunkers, no water, just a little bit of lift and it'll run 2/3. So I like to sort of say, well, if you can master chipping with 2 clubs at the start with, you know, crack the pitching wedge, crack the 8-iron, and you've got 2 options around the green to get you going on the ratios. Okay, so there's some little tips on chipping you can try at home or even at the range. This is a great one just to get yourself feeling like you're not flicking them wrists there. Just really educate the body as to what it's got to do to miss that left hand side. Okay. And then pitching, so a bit more challenging pitching, because obviously we're trying to get the ball further now, but a couple of key things still apply. So I still want you to go get your weight into your left hand side still. You can go a little bit wider in your stance now because we're going to like 40-yard territory. And the main difference with the pitch is that because we need more distance and more power, he's got the ball up in the air, we need to definitely turn the body more. And the second thing we need to do with the pitch, different to a chip, is engage the wrists. So a good little drill again, using the stick here. If I'm pitching the golf ball, I'm going to still apply this cane down the left hand side, but from that angle there on the camera you can see, if I was to take my backswing, a good checkpoint for you is that when you get halfway back here, I like to see that stick now, that pointer, is pointed anywhere between my right toe and the golf ball. Okay? If I take it back and don't hinge my wrists, clearly you can see that stick now is pointed over to my golf bag. If I hinge my wrist there, that's when I get that nice engagement. Okay, so that's a really good drill to try in the home. And people often underestimate actually how much you can hinge that wrist and get that position. But if you've got a checkpoint, and that helps to try and say, yeah, I've got that position. Notice when I do that, I'm turning. So I'm really getting that body turning here. The weight's still down the left-hand side. And then from there, we just go through again. This isn't going to touch your side. So from this angle, you can see for a pitch shot, hit our checkpoint halfway back. So between the toe and the golf ball, then on the way through, the weight's coming forward, and then and come through to the finish. So hinge and then through. And then with a pitch shot, I think the key thing with a pitch shot is really making sure the chest turns through the shot. Again, similar to the pitch shot, I see a lot of people, even if they get that hinge here, they try and fall back and try and help it up. So notice I'm mirroring the backswing. So that position here, same position on the way through. Okay, so my chest is always facing the target. So when I teach pitching, I always like to try and get people to hold the finish and just see if you're holding that nice pose. All the time as well with the pitch shot, remember you've got to be hitting down on the ball. So even though you've got a short distance and you're quite close to the hole, typically you're pitching with that sand wedge or a pitching wedge. There's quite a bit of loft there, so you can be quite aggressive, but really feel like you are interacting with the ground, hitting down and extending. We definitely don't want to fall back on it and pull the arms in, because then that's when you'll hit the top of the ball and it'll go along the ground. So what I would suggest, if you are practicing this at the range, now we can get back out there, try the two techniques. So try a few with a pitch shot, try a few chips, and then mix and match. Try and go chip, pitch, and test yourself between the two. The key difference though is the wrist position for me. It's the setup, but mainly pitch position here, and then chip position here. As you play in the winter as well, the ground's softer. Don't be too afraid to get into the ground. I think when it's a bit wet and a bit muddy, that's when we can really see the arms pulling in. So really want you to commit to the shot, focus on a point maybe just after the ball, and then you can hit more down on the ball and get a nice divot to when you come through, and be nice and confident even when you're close to the greens. That's a good tip with the pitching. But give it a go in your practice and see if you can get good with the two. If you're confident with your chipping and pitching, then it really helps the scores, because that's when that's the scoring game. If you can pitch it on the green, take your 2 putts and move on, then we're in business. Okay? So some quick fire tips there and some questions. Hopefully you know the difference between the chip and the pitch shot now. So give that a go in your practice. Before we go into the winners for the virtual lesson, so excited to see who's going to win this tonight. We're back again for the next session. It's going to be winter putting the next session. So how does putting in the winter change the summer? So we're going to go through that on the weekend, on Sunday. So looking forward to that. And like I said, we're going to keep the content coming at these regular slots every week. So tell your friends to subscribe to the site. We're going to do some more sessions, hopefully out of the home soon as well, so we can get back on the range and bring you some content from the golf course and the driving range. So be sure to comment in the forum, let me know what you want me to cover in the coming weeks. Okay, I think it's time for the winners. So thank you to all everyone who entered the competition, as we said. So it's going to be virtual lessons. It's going to be an offering from LLG going forward, where you can send your swing to me, no matter where you are in the world. I'll analyse it, give you some tips, send it back. So that's going to be a service we're going to offer very soon. So let's see who the lucky winners are for our first offering, these virtual sessions. So all done live on air. So we'll do a live draw first. So the first winner we've got here is number 4. So if I have a look on number 4 here, so if you want to jump on the screen there, so number 4 is Janet Chapman. Okay, so Jan Chapman, you've won the first virtual golf offering, so well done, Jan. So we've got 3 giveaways, so we're going to go again, so let's generate another number here. So number 2, we've got Helen Scott. Okay, so well done to Helen Scott. You're the lucky winner number 2 for the virtual lesson giveaway. And number 3, Helen Scott can't win again, so we're going to go away in the random generator. Number 14. And number 14 is Dorothy Fisher. Okay, so Dorothy Fisher, we've got Helen Scott and Jan Chapman. Well done, ladies. So I'll be contacting you with the details on how to upload your swing, and you'll receive your analysis within 24 hours. And like I said, we're going to roll this out as well, so if that's something you want to get on board with and that'll help your game, look out for the information on that coming soon into your inbox. So I think that concludes the live session. So I think we're done for tonight. So well done to the winners. Hope you enjoyed that pitch versus chip special. Keep your suggestions coming forward, and look forward to seeing you all on the weekend.